Before time was recorded in scrolls or carved into stone, there was an age the earth no longer remembers clearly, an age of quiet beginnings and hidden corruption. The land was vast, green, and untouched, where rivers moved like living veins across the earth, and mountains stood like ancient witnesses under the gaze of heaven. Humanity lived close to the soil, close to the sky, and, at first, close to God. In that world there walked a man named Enoch. He was not a king, not a warrior, not a builder of empires. He was something far more unsettling to the age he lived in. A man who listened. While others measured greatness in strength, wealth, and invention, Enoch measured life by nearness to God. And in a generation slowly forgetting its creator, that made him an anomaly and eventually a warning. At first, nothing seemed wrong with the world. Villages thrived, families grew, fields produced abundance. But beneath the surface of human progress, something was shifting. Violence began as whispers, then habits, then culture. What once was rare became normal. What once was unthinkable became entertainment. And as humanity drifted further from reverence, the boundaries between heaven and earth began to tremble. It was in this unfolding tension that Enoch began to see what others could not with ordinary sight, with vision. He saw beings majestic and terrifying descending from the unseen realm. They were not meant to walk the earth. They were called watchers, spiritual intelligences meant to observe creation, not interfere with it. But they crossed the line between witness and participant. They did not merely observe humanity, they influenced it. They taught what should not have been taught too soon. Knowledge of weapons, secrets of metal and fire, power without purity. And humanity, hungry for advancement but unguarded in spirit, embraced it. Civilization did not simply grow, it shifted. And with that shift came something heavier, corruption wrapped in brilliance. Enoch watched as the world he loved began to fracture. Violence no longer needed reason. Strength no longer needed justice. And in the shadows of this transformation, new beings emerged, giants born of distortion, the Nephilim, symbols of a world where order had been broken and nothing remained balanced. And still Enoch walked with God. Then came the moment everything changed. The heavens opened, not gently, but with overwhelming authority. Enoch was taken into visions no human mind was prepared to endure. He saw realms of light so pure they seemed alive.
You have defied the Most High. Judgment is upon you, and there is no escape from the chains you forged.
He saw thrones beyond comprehension, where creation itself bowed in silence. He saw prisons of darkness where rebellion ended not in triumph, but in chains that echoed forever. And in that terrifying contrast, glory and judgment, he understood his calling. He was not chosen to be admired. He was chosen to warn asterisk. Enoch returned to earth carrying something heavier than fear. Truth that no one wanted to hear. He stood in city squares and wilderness paths, calling a generation back from the edge. But the further a world drifts from truth, the more it resists the voice that reminds it of what it has become.
The Most High has shown me your wickedness. Turn from this path while you still can, for judgment is coming.
They laughed at him, then they ignored him, then they resented him. But Enoch did not stop, because walking with God does not always lead to comfort, it leads to obedience in the face of disbelief. And while the earth continued its descent into chaos, Enoch's life became a dividing line between two realities, the world as it was becoming, and the world as God intended it to be. Then one day he was gone, not lost, not defeated, taken, and the world was left with only his warning echoing through history like thunder after a storm. That corruption does not remain unnoticed forever, and that even in the darkest generations, there are those who walk so closely with God that earth itself can no longer contain them.